Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the Big Movement Podcast. Today we have Jo Soley, who works with heart-centered female entrepreneurs who are feeling overwhelmed with their marketing to help them get that clarity needed to produce a steady flow of their ideal clients, so this way they can reach their desired monthly income goals so they can live life on their terms. So we're going to dive in. How do you start peeling back the layers of overwhelm and build to create that business you want with Jo? So Jo, welcome.
Welcome. Hello.
So Jo, how did you get into this world? Because everyone has a distinct story that gets them to where they want to be at.
Okay, so basically I graduated with a degree when I was 22, 23, with a degree in retail management, and I worked for large retailers in the UK. And then I worked overseas in the Middle East and Far East in retail and marketing and travel for about 10 years. And I moved back to the UK and worked for a large adventure park in the southwest. And when I was working in Devon after probably like 25 years experience in marketing, I decided that I really wanted to work for myself and just work predominantly with women. They say get big, get out, or get niche. So I got niche and set up my own business, Your Brilliant Business Angel, which helps female entrepreneurs. However, living in the southwest at the time of England, everything was kind of offline instead of online. So it was face to face, not like this at all. I did a lot of networking, and people do business if they like you, know you, or trust you. So I was kind of doing a little bit of everything. I was doing what I tell people not to do now. So I was doing social media management, I was doing PR, retainer work, event management, and because I was known and liked and trusted in the community, people are just saying, can you do this? And I'd do it, which was fine for the time. But then I moved back to be nearer London to grow my business, and I realised pretty quickly that I didn't have a message, that everything was kind of, a bit spray or pray marketing, and I was helping people to do done for you work, but they hadn't really looked at their client and their consistency of their message, their clarity, their package staircase, their content piece, or the conversion. So I put together a 7-step system, a 7-step module that people can download from my website, or I can work with them to do that. So that's kind of the trajectory of my journey, how I worked overseas, worked in Devon, worked in marketing, but then realised I wanted to work with females to help them, and I was kind of doing the done for you stuff, and suddenly it was like, right, we really need to get this strategic, but in a relationship way. So yeah, does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Everyone has that journey of where they start at and where they end up. It's very rare that someone wakes up and says, I'm going to just start making a difference in teaching people about business without having some type of a life experience there. Because when you look at what you're doing today, it would be difficult to do it without that background, without the journey you went along to figure out, oh, yeah, this running around in networking groups is probably not the most efficient way of doing it.
Yeah.
So you have to do things in a way that makes total sense, because otherwise you end up wasting a lot of time and energy, and that's not what anybody wants to do.
No.
So then, how did you decide to start focusing in on women entrepreneurs of as that niche that you wanted to work with?
So, when I used to go to networking groups, I knew that I'd work quite well with the women that I work with. I was kind of getting results. This isn't about, um, this isn't about not working with men. It's really finding my niche, finding my avatar. So women work quite differently to men. Men are quite rational and logical and analytical. Women make quite good leaders because they ask questions and they're great at networking. So I decided that I wanted to work with women in that sense. Um, I'm 44, I look 22, and I sound 12. So
Great combo.
I've always been kind of underestimated a little bit. Not that I care anymore. I just do what I do and get people results. But it just worked. My logo, my business name, Your Brilliant Business Angel, my colours, my image, everything worked for the female market.
Right. Well, and that makes a lot of sense there that it's working for the marketplace. And when you decided upon that, what was it that stood out in terms of you started looking at, well, do you want to work with women or do you work with men? What made you just decide to resonate, like to say, I have to do just focus my business specifically on women and not men at all?
Yeah, okay. So this is what I teach in one of my steps. So ideal client, and it's kind of back to what I said a minute ago. Get big, get niche, get out. If you speak to everybody, you speak to nobody. So in on the back of my business card, I say I help overwhelmed female, heart-centered business owners providing clarity in their business and marketing to create results. So every time I give my card out or I get in front of my ideal client, they are saying, I'm overwhelmed, I'm female, I'm heart-centered, I'm a business owner, I want clarity in my business, and I want to get results. But I think um, why it came about is because I I'm quite intuitive and I know where I can get results and I know when I get in front of people where I can help them. And over the years, um, I have had the best results networking with women. I have had the best results working in with women to get them results in their business. So it wasn't, I've had over 3 years, my business is 3 years old. Over 3 years, I've probably worked with two guys. That doesn't mean to say that I never work with any other guy ever, but the guys I've worked with have either been female coaches or they're holistic therapies, so they're kind of working in that heart center arena. So I just think, you need to look at your market, at yourself. Who do you who are you an energetic fit for? Just because I work in a holistic market doesn't mean I'm woo woo. I'm Aries, I'm number one in numerology. I get results, I work hard, but it's the key is knowing who your target is, and a very corporate guy or a very professional female is not my market. My market is authors, artists, creative types who are struggling with the visibility piece, and in a holistic world. Now, I didn't have to niche just to women, but I chose to, and that really really works for me, because then when I've got my message and I'm positioning it and I'm putting myself out there online, offline, the language I use, my branding, it just speaks to a niche audience, and they get me. So it saves so much money, it saves so much time, it saves so many clients that aren't an energetic fit. It works.
all of that is important because I think that's where people sometimes miss the point in niching down is that you're able to have synergy with a set of clients versus being all over the place. Because you think about the number of people you've seen out there where they're trying to help everybody, but they're struggling in business because they haven't defined that niche.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so when you're growing your business, like you said, you started off with networking. Now, and now you're doing a lot more things online. Why did you make that switch?
So I still work, I still do networking because because I believe in face to face and relationships. And also, if I was just to sit on my own at home day in, day out, I think I'd go mental. So I do like getting out there and making real life connections. However, the power of the internet, the power of social media, we cannot underestimate that. I lived in Devon, and kind of when a few years ago, really, when I kind of started my business, everything in Devon that I was doing was kind of offline, and it did feed my business. It was all referral, it was all word of mouth, it was testimonials. You know, what somebody says about you is 100 times more powerful than what you say about yourself. But those relationships took time to build, years and years and years. So, working online, we've got things like Google ads, Facebook ads, Facebook groups, um, blogs. Google loves fresh content, newsletters, email lists. So I was doing those kind of things, but not to the extent that I'm doing them now. And networking really is like getting um, one little fishing rod and scooping up one person, whereas online is taking a massive trawler net and and the reach is a lot more powerful. But it's still, um, I would still say that you have to be your authentic self. So that's why it's even more important to have a niche, to have to have a strap line, to have a question that you ask, to be consistent, to be persistent, to share your knowledge, to be known as the expert in your field. But you've got more um, chance of exposure, and it's, it's not like just once a month you're paying X amount to be part of a network group. You can use it in tandem.
That's a great way to do it, of doing in tandem, because just like you, I think a lot of entrepreneurs they will go stir crazy if they only did things online because as you know, if you're building things online, it can be very solitary throughout the day. That you're having conversations with people via Skype and other platforms, but otherwise you're at home by yourself,
Yeah, no,
and
definitely.
that can get quite lonely.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Because I think when people make that transition from the traditional office environment, that's the one of the things they miss is, if you go in the office, you have the energy of being around others throughout the day. You have the creativity that flows, and suddenly you're by yourself. And depending on where you live at, the only conversation you might have might be with a cat or a dog.
Yeah.
So, and as you know, that would be a very awkward conversation because you might just get those little looks back, like, okay, whatever you say, I'm just going to sit here and smile at you. So, you have to have that social engagement to propel you forward.
And it might not be that networking's for everybody, but there's so many different groups now. Um, you know, I do a lot of speaking, which helps raise my profile. Um, you can ask for friends. You can build your social networks. You can ask. You can ask for, not ask for friends. You can ask for what you need people to help you with. You can raise your profile that way. there's opportunities to do slots or networking, speed networking, etc., etc. But it's not just networking in terms of the groups. There's big events that you can go to in large cities, to learn, to feed your business, to invest in yourself, but also you can meet people there. So I would, really advocate going to these events, going to networking, but also having one-to-ones, because that's where the relationships are built, because that's where the referral piece comes in. But I do it in tandem, so I do a lot online in my group, on my personal page, go live, send a newsletter to my list, put together an offer for them. I'm creating an online course, I'm finishing off my book. So there's ways which they can connect with you, but the offline piece gets you out the house, but gets you connecting in real time, because social media will never replace that.
Oh, definitely not. There's something special about when you can be face to face with somebody and having a conversation that no matter how well you are connected online, there's a limit to how well you're going to interact with somebody in that fashion.
Yeah, definitely.
Because just like you said, if some of the best things happen if you go to larger events where you get to meet people, because you might have seen somebody, but that's where you can truly build that connection with another individual, and those things can help scale a person's business because then they can be directly connected to somebody that they might never have been able to do online. Because you think about it, if when you're connecting see, some people online, they might have gatekeepers and so forth that help filter the masses, but if you catch them for 5 minutes at a big event, you never know what might happen. Might say, hey, here's my cell number, give me a call in 2 days. That you would never be able to do that if you're trying to do it the traditional online way.
Yeah, definitely. They say book a meeting from a meeting, so um, that way you're in front of somebody. I always follow up with an email saying, great to meet you. If you want to download my 7 steps, here's the link. If you want to join my Facebook group, here's the link. If you want me to share anything with my tribe, please do. Um, so it's that piece.
And that's a great piece to have there. It's immediately following up because if you look at networking in general, think about how many people don't do that one thing, follow up.
Yeah, the fortune's in the follow-up, because we're so busy, we're inundated with so much more information, 85% more than our grandparents ever was. So it's about being the pattern interrupt. So just meeting somebody once and giving them your card isn't enough. So having a follow-up email or a follow-up meeting, and then hopefully getting somebody onto your email address so you can nurture them, because it used to be 7 to 8 times until somebody would bite. Now it's more like 17 to 18 times that you need to get in front of somebody.
Right. It continuously changes. That's why we have to do things differently than before. It's no longer just the same old fashioned way that we do. Like, hey, I'll give you a call tomorrow, and that's it. It's because there's so many more choices. We have to build up that rapport and that relationship with somebody, so they decide, I really want to work with you.
Yeah, definitely.
So as you were growing your business and you started doing things online, what did you start seeing was having the biggest impact for attracting clients?
Um, I think having a unique system. So my 7 steps, everything I talk about is based around my 7 steps. So I know that my clients are struggling to get clients, and I know they're looking for clarity in their marketing. But I also know if they just do the spray and pray marketing, then it's kind of a drop in the ocean. So I help them really focus on the 7 C's, which is connecting them to their message, their client, the problems that they have, their clients have, um, the solution that they bring to the table, the package staircase that they can offer, so like an easy yes, a core program, a high end, the passive piece, the online piece, and then the consistency, so the brand, because that's what people say about you when you're not there, the content, which you're going to get out there consistently, persistently, and then the sales, the conversion. So that's what I lead on. So if I did a 7-day Facebook event, it would be about 7 steps. So then people would need to download those 7 steps. If I do an event or speaking gig, I talk about the 7 steps. So my book, my online course is about the 7 steps, because in marketing, those are the elements and the areas where you need to get right. So when I have my clarity sessions, it might be around all of those steps or one of those steps, depending on where the client is. But for me, having a unique system, it it kind of makes you the expert in your field. You can talk about the same thing over and over and over and over again, because that's what you lead on, and then um, you're known, and your clients know people like them, people like people like them, so they tell people, and you kind of grow a tribe, you grow a community. So from having the unique system, which is a freebie, to grow my list. Then I have a Facebook group which people feel safe, they can ask questions, I share information, 80/20 rule. 80% of the time I'm giving them impact information, sharing other people's stuff, and 20% of the time I'm giving them a call to action, an invitation to work with me. So that's worked for me. It depends on obviously your business model and who you're serving, but that way you're drip feeding people into you all the time. But it needs to be something they want to download, because obviously they're giving you their email address.
Right. And that something important is having that freebie which incentivizes somebody. So what have you found to be the most effective in terms of that freebie offer? Because some people think like, oh, I want to create like a big video series, and some people like, oh, I want to have create a mini course. What do you see as the most impactful freebie?
So for the lead magnet, because that's what it is, it's a magnet to get more leads. It's about, it depends on your business and where you are. So what I would do before we even get to looking at the lead magnet is clarify the ideal client, who they are, where are they, what keeps them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, what's their why, um, what's their pain point, what's their problem, what's their needs, what's their wants, what's their goals, what's their desires, what's their biggest challenges, and from there, what is the solution that you bring to the table. So mine is to help them get clients. So then from that, what is the best downloadable? So is it a PDF? Is it 10 tips? Is it 7 steps? Is it a podcast? Is it a video? Is it an ebook? So you need to, your lead magnet's the last thing you work out really. You'd you'd really want to look at your message, your client, what they're struggling with, and what they need. So it is a magnet to get leads, but it's an irresistible freebie. So in the mind of your avatar, what if they were to want to download something, they saw it as a sponsored ad, or they saw it pop up in a group, what would they say? Yes, I want that, and download it immediately.
And that in itself, I think it's critical because people don't spend enough time thinking about what is irresistible to their ideal client. They just do the spray and pray, like, let me just throw this up, instead of taking the time and energy to realize this is what someone is hungry for. How can I provide it?
Yeah, and split test it. So if it's not working, then change it, or try a few, and which ones get the most like hits and results.
Right. So when you were putting your lead magnet out there, what format did you ultimately find worked best for you?
So for me, I tell them about what's in the 7 steps. So and um, I kind of give them a little bit of an intro. It depends where I'm. If I'm talking about it at a networking group, um, I can I've got a laminated copy that I can physically show them. But I, you kind of have a page, a front page, which is an overview. So mine says 7 step checklist to make your business easy. Struggling to get clients I can help. And then you'd have an introduction. So why this checklist is going to help them, and why you want to share it with them. Um, and then you go into providing the information, and then at the end you'd have a bio, a call to action to work with you, and then a disclaimer. So I found mine works best where it's on the front page of my website above the fold. It says struggling to get clients I can help, and it's the consistent piece, so everything's the same. So it's the same question. They put in their information. They're then taken to download the PDF. But I follow it up again, fortune in the follow up, because everyone's busy. And just because they've downloaded it doesn't mean they've got the time there and then to fill it in. So I email them um, like a nurture sequence. So I'll email it to them so they've got it in their inbox. A week later, I'll say how are you getting on and give them some advice on steps 1 and 2. A week later, advice on steps 3 and 4. A week later, on steps 5 and 6. A week later on step 7, and then calls to action, how they can work with me, and give them value. So giving them more information, helping them. So it's a 4 um, step nurture sequence to help them, because it's not enough just letting them download it because we're busy people.
Right. And that, what you said right there, it is so priceless because most people don't take the time to create a nurture sequence. Just assume that, hey, they downloaded it. If they take action on it, great. But then it should never stop there. It has to be an ongoing sequence, an ongoing conversation that it's not a one and done. Like, hey, you downloaded it, all your problems are solved. If that was the case, life would be too easy. So you have to encourage it. Because you think about how many times people, they get distracted. They go, oh, I totally forgot I need to do this, because we live in that overstimulated world.
No, definitely. So it's like fortune in the follow up, reminding them and helping them. They say give your best stuff away for free. So just showing that you care. It's all about the impact that you make in the world. Long gone is build it and they will come. It's about relationships.
It is indeed. And I like to say that it goes even beyond the relationships, because if you think of the world where we used to live in, of the build it and we would come, a lot of people who still subscribe to that theory. And instead, we have to put ourselves in a different mindset, because information, it's all over the place. But what people need the most of, it comes down to accountability and someone to walk them through the process. It's the implementation.
Yeah, no,
And that,
definitely.
because if you look at, if someone really wanted to know how to build a lead magnet, you could watch a ton of things on YouTube. Great. But at the same time, there's not necessarily a system that walks you through. Here's exactly what needs to go into it. This is how you create a nurture sequence. This is how you do the split testing that goes with it. How do you measure the results that are generated from it? Those things you're not necessarily going to find out there. So that's when people want to come to you and seek out that help.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, and it's the accountability piece as well, because it's amazing what you do when someone's watching.
Oh, yes. I like to think that goes back down to when we're all in school as kids growing up. And, you're always doing your homework because you didn't want to be the one person in class who had to stand up, sorry, I didn't do my homework, because there's that accountability.
Exactly. That's why deadlines work.
Oh, yes. Deadlines. The difference between dreams and reality. As so many people don't ever give themselves a deadline to do something. Like, if you want to make it happen, put it on the calendar, because until then, it's just an idea. But once there's a deadline, it becomes a commitment.
Exactly.
So, obviously, leveraging a lead magnet that's based on your ideal client works wonders for you. But how do people start nurturing a little bit more with Facebook groups? Because it's too many people, they fall into this trap of they see these groups out there like, hey, I have the largest group on whatever, and there's 20,000 people in it, but then it's just spammy posts, and that's what so many people are accustomed to. What is it that people should be looking for if they're going to create a group to truly provide value, so people want to be a part of it instead of just dropping in to spam a link to something?
Yeah. So, lots of groups, or the majority of groups that I belong to, there's probably a no promo rule, or you could have Marketing Monday or Marketplace Monday, or share your information Friday. But it's all about adding impact and relationships. It's not just broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Because as you said, those posts don't really get you anything because you don't know the person. But the posts where people are sharing a blog or sharing some value, putting in an inspirational post, going live, sharing some software that's helping them, it's the engagement piece that really works. So in my group, to build it, I will not add people just cold. I will ask them if they want to join. Um, I on my newsletter they can join it. From my website they can join it. I put organic posts on my personal page and on my business page if they want to join it. But it's up to them, and people find it, um, through the work I do. But when we're in there, I take time to add value, nurture, and again, it's the 80/20 rule. So I'll be putting in um, some blogs, some newsletter content, some posts, other people's events, other people share, my group members share their kind of ahas and bits and pieces, and then 20% of the time I'll invite them to work with me, but it's the kind of engagement, it's asking questions, it's finding out where people are. I go live as well, but it's sharing, just sharing wisdom and knowledge and inviting other people to share their wisdom and knowledge as well. And then that way you build a tribe. Because of the algorithms on Facebook, only 5% of people who on your business page see each post, but with a group, it can be an integral part of your marketing mix because and your social media strategy, because everybody sees each post you put up. So
Right.
it's really powerful, and people feel safe in groups as well. But there's a fine line between spamming and broadcasting and just shouting about what you do and building relationships.
It is indeed. I like groups for that reason, because you can truly engage with people, and you don't necessarily have to worry about people that don't fit commenting on it. Like, if you put things out on a Facebook page, well, it's open to the world, so anybody can say anything, but you're letting people into a group, that's letting them inside your inner circle so you can be a little more open, a little more forthcoming with them, and people can feel like they're not going to be harassed by what they say because it's that type of environment.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So when you decide to launch your group, because some people they have that fear, it's they want to use one for growing their business, but getting it up and running, it's like, okay, I invited my best friend to it and there's three of us. What were some of those things you did in the beginning to scale it? Because it's a very powerful tool as part of your business, but then there's that awkward stage where it's like there's no one in here.
Well, I think I started it in January, so it's only 5 months old, but it's grown to 280 people, but it's the quality people in there, not the quantity. So I, like I said, I put a post, I put reg, I, I, I tell people at networking groups that I have it, um, and kind of other I do put sometimes posts in there saying, or if you'd like to share this with like-minded females who you'd think would benefit, please do. Yeah, there's ways to do it. On when the way to join, and where else do I do it? Oh, on my lead magnet, you can join it as well. So I just think it's like having a few parts of your marketing funnel where people can join it, but it will grow organically. Um, when people are searching for those kind of groups to join, it kind of pops up, um, and you can share it on your business page as well as your personal page.
Because you want to consistently focus on quality over quantity, because it doesn't do any good to have a group with, let's say, 30, 40,000 people in it if there's little engagement, when it's more powerful to have a group the fraction of the size of it, but people are actively engaged on a daily basis.
Yeah, no, definitely. So it's like even at the weekends saying what you're doing this weekend, or are you working in your business? Are you working on your business? Have a self-care Sunday. How are you spending today? So it's the consistency piece really. And even if you haven't got like loads of time and you're running around and got clients and network groups and you're here, there, and everywhere, you've still got time for an inspirational quote.
Right. And that's the thing when it comes to inspirational quotes. Even if you can't think of one yourself, there's millions of quotes out there that you can put into a simple picture and share it within a couple minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So I use Canva to create mine, um, because then you've got your website and things like that. But lots, there's loads out there that you can share. It just takes seconds.
Right, exactly. And with just a few seconds, you never know what impact you can have on somebody's day because they see that piece of information, think that's exactly what I needed to hear today.
Yeah, no,
And that makes
definitely.
all the difference in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
So, as we begin wrapping things up, what's one thing that you recommend for entrepreneurs to do to really get their message out there so they can stop feeling overwhelmed and attract their ideal clients?
Um, so just get really half the time people aren't clear enough on their ideal client and what their problems and pain points are, and this is the most important thing, because say if you were a Bowen therapist and you say I'm a Bowen therapist, people think I don't need a Bowen therapist. But if you say I help people with back pain, I'm sorry, I've got a pussycat just jumped on my screen. If you say I help people with back pain, um, then it's more emotional, and people want to help, um, they want to help their friends who've got back pain because if they've ever experienced it, it's not very nice. So it's about really identifying your message, because there's thousands of coaches out there. So who do you help? What results do you get them? And how can you help them? How can you help people they know? So I'd really work on that piece. A lot of the time that is glossed over. People create a business that they want, not what the marketplace needs. So I'd really say get that clarity on your message, um, your ideal client, and the problems that you solve and how you solve it. The transformation. People want to buy results.
Indeed, they do. People always want to buy results. So, how can people learn more about you, Joe, and get in touch with you?
So, thank you. If they go to my website, www.joesoley.com, they can download my 7 steps, and then they'll be added to my list, which I'll nurture them for 4 weeks. And then I send an email every Thursday to my list. I've also got a group, Business Made Easy, with Joe Soley on Facebook, or they can email me directly, joe@joesoley.com.
That's awesome. Well, Joe, I want to thank you for coming on to the Big Movement podcast today and sharing your wisdom about getting clear in your messaging and attracting your ideal clients in business.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.